Welcome to the Nothing or Triple Show, the movie podcast that's thinking it's back. Welcome, everybody. I'm Ian.
I'm Christian. And it's been a while since we've recorded.
Yeah, we're a little rusty because we took a little hiatus, and so we tweak, we adjust, we come, we go, and here we are, Thursday, May 23rd, talking about some news from the past week that we think you should know.
Yeah, so our new format, for as long as we feel like doing it, which will probably be like a week or something, is we want to run through things that you might not have heard about in the movie world and things that we're really excited about. So we're going to try to do it quick format because we have a tendency to drone on. We have a nifty little timer that Ian wasted money on that gives us, I guess I'll say 3 minutes per story, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. And so that we get these podcasts out pretty quickly, we're going to include our flubs.
Yeah, we're gonna let the mistakes ride. Unless they're really bad, then maybe I'll make a note. But
yeah,
we're gonna try to let the mistakes ride.
Right, because we've actually recorded 2 episodes since the last time we published, and they are stuck in editing hell.
I gotta fire that editor.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get going. You do the first story.
I do the first story.
What should everybody know about this week?
All right. 3 minutes on the clock. This is not exactly or exclusively movie news. It's not movie news at all. It's actually show news. But I think one of the most exciting things is that we got a teaser trailer for Picard, the CBS Star Trek series. Are you excited?
Yeah, I posted on Facebook today that I cheered at the top of my lungs and then fainted.
And then watched it 12 more times.
That's probably literally true.
So we haven't seen Picard since his last movie,
Star Trek Nemesis,
which
sucked.
Which, yeah, kind of. Wait, Nemesis was after Insurrection?
Yeah, Nemesis was the last one.
Right.
It was directed by Stuart Bayard, who was previously just a film editor, probably not the right man for the job. And it sort of tanked the franchise to the point that they ended up rebooting in 2009 with the Chris Pine series.
And we're big Star Trek fans of the entire universe, but especially the Next Generation characters and cast and story. So we've been hungry and starving for something in this universe again.
Yeah, so it seemed for a long time like Jean-Luc Picard was never going to come back, that we had seen the last of the Next Generation cast because of some legal whatevers. Paramount was able to make Star Trek movies and CBS was able to make Star Trek shows. So there was confusion about which characters could show up where. What we're hearing about the Picard show, and not a lot is known, is that it takes place in the wake of the Star Trek 2009 reboot spinoff. Oh, crap, I said reboot. We're not supposed to say that. Sorry, spinoff, sequel, whatever. So the events that led to the time travel in the first movie, the 2009 movie, impact Picard's life in some significant way.
Right.
So that's a cool idea. He's left Starfleet.
If you want to know why Christian said we can't say reboot, there's an excellent story on nothingertriple.com that tells you all about it.
Drive traffic.
But we don't know what Picard's been up to other than these events of the 2009 Star Trek have an impact. But we do know he's been making wine. That's the one bit of new information we got from this teaser trailer.
Right. And so apparently there is an actual Chateau Picard. I don't know if somebody named it as an homage to the show because, today it's 25 years since the last episode of The Next Generation today, which is why they released the teaser. And a portion of that episode takes place when Picard's an old man and working at his family vineyard.
Yeah.
So it's a nice through line.
And there's a voiceover that asks why he leaves Starfleet. What I hope that's leading to is, will you come back?
Let's hope so.
And will your other cast members come back with you?
Well, so we have, oh God, the beeper's going off. I'll say this really fast. I was at AwesomeCon in DC and I went to the panel and then met Jonathan Frakes, Brent Spiner, Marina Sirtis, Gates McFadden, and Will Wheaton. And
Wesley.
Of course, the question was, are you coming back? And Gates McFadden said, well, nobody's asked us yet. And you got to take it with a grain of salt because they try to keep everything secret.
Right.
But it seemed like they genuinely didn't know, except for Jonathan Frakes, who's directing to the third and fourth episode of the series.
Yeah.
But if they don't bring back the original characters, then boycott Central.
They'll be rioting.
Yeah.
All right, your turn.
Okay. 3 minutes. Here we go. Christopher Nolan's new movie has started filming.
But we don't know anything about it.
We know a little bit about it.
All right, what do we got?
So the movie now has an official name, which is Tenet. It's described as an international espionage film that has some implication for the space-time continuum. So obviously, space-time continuum is a huge part of Interstellar, and espionage is a huge part of Inception. And I have no idea what any of this means, but it's super exciting. The cast has some familiar folks like Michael Caine, who's been in probably all of Christopher Nolan's movies, most of them.
Was he in Dunkirk? I don't think so.
In spirit. And then Kenneth Branagh, who was in Dunkirk. And then the rest of the cast, John David Washington, who's Denzel Washington's son and was fantastic in BlacKkKlansman last year. One of the best movies of last year, if you haven't seen it.
Still haven't seen it yet.
Yep. Elizabeth Debicki, who was in Steve McQueen's Widows last year, and she was in, why am I totally blanking on the name? The Tom Hiddleston, Jean-Luc TV series. I can't, all I can think of is Taylor of Panama, and that was a Pierce Brosnan movie. Nope. I'm embarrassed.
Flub.
Flub. Whatever. Aaron Taylor Johnson and Robert Pattinson, who may show up later in the show. So do you have anything to say about this one, or do you want to save a minute?
I'm excited for it, but I haven't received any information other than I'm excited for a Nolan movie.
Right. So we've got 1 year. It comes out next summer, and Christopher Nolan has yet to deliver a bad movie.
Maybe a Christmas trailer or something, maybe?
Yeah, probably.
That'd be cool.
But I doubt we'll learn much. Okay, reset the clock. We saved 53 seconds. 52 seconds.
All right.
51 seconds.
Ready?
Yeah, go. Okay.
Next story. Well, it seems relevant because you already dropped the name Robert Pattinson, but guess who the new Batman is?
I have no idea.
Old Twilight boy himself, Robert Pattinson, Edward from the Twilight series, is playing the new Batman in the Matt Reeves story. Now, clearly, this is a young Batman compared to Ben Affleck or even Christian Bale at this point. I hope it's not another origin story because we already got Batman Begins. And I don't think we need another scene where we see his parents get killed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that they're opting for a younger Batman. I think we know that this is not part of the larger DC universe, though, right? This is a standalone trilogy. We don't know.
I mean, we have no idea.
Okay. So anyway, you're going to start seeing another face on your kids' toys and cereal boxes and action figures and lunch boxes and T-shirts because Batman merchandise never ceases to sell.
Right. So I'm going to hold judgment for this. Matt Reeves is a great director. He made Cloverfield, which I think is one of the most creative movies in the last 20 years, and just like absolutely terrifying. If you haven't seen the first Cloverfield, you have to see it. But then he did two of the Planet of the Apes movies, which had no business being good, and they were brilliant.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the last time I passed judgment and bombed big time and got it totally wrong was when Heath Ledger was cast as Joker, because I was like, I do not care about Heath Ledger at all. And plus I was a big fan of Jack Nicholson's Joker. So that was an example, considering it was a Batman movie especially, that sometimes your expectations can be completely subverted and it can turn out awesome.
Right. And that was the big controversy about Michael Keaton, who was a comedian when Tim Burton cast him. I will say Robert Pattinson to me, so okay, a couple of things. First of all, he's getting a lot of buzz in Hollywood right now for being a serious actor. He's in is it Dave Eggers? Dave Eggers' new movie with Willem Dafoe. It's the guy who directed The Witch, and it's about two guys at a lighthouse who are at each other's throats and slowly going mad, and it's supposed to be really great. It's got a lot of buzz. And then he was in a David Cronenberg movie and got great reviews. So I think it's going to be hard for him to shake the Twilight baggage, but that was a long time ago. He's been in a lot since then. However, physically, which matters for the role of Batman, he seems a bit slight to me. So who knows? Maybe he can bulk up and look the part. But
I mean, do you remember the difference between Henry Cavill before Superman and as Superman? Like he was...
No.
All right, well, hold on. Anyway, Henry Cavill was a real skinny actor.
Yeah.
Then Superman came along and he bulked way, way up. So
yeah,
some people can change.
All right. Also, one last bit of information. Apparently, the villains will be Catwoman and Penguin.
Interesting.
So, a little Batman Returns reunion.
The best Penguin performance I ever saw was Patton Oswalt in I think it was like some internet video. Maybe it was like Funny or Die or something. But he did a short as the Penguin.
Yeah, I remember that. He was like channeling Burgess Meredith from the
he was awesome.
60s series. Yeah. All right. Reset.
Go.
Is it my turn again?
It's your turn.
Jeez. Okay. Also this morning, overshadowed by the brilliant Picard teaser, was a trailer for Terminator Dark Fate. So a couple of things about this movie. First of all, it's the 6th entry in the Terminator series, but continuity-wise, it's now considered the 3rd because this movie is conceived of as a direct sequel to Terminator 2. So Terminator 3, Terminator Salvation, and Terminator Genesis.
Didn't happen.
Oh, wait, or is this the 7th? How many? Salvation? 3? No, yeah, so this is 6th. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, this one brings back a couple of key folks. Obviously, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's really hard to have a Terminator movie without Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
We don't know in what role. He's got a fleeting appearance in the teaser, which probably means they're holding him for later. But the teaser is focused on the return of Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton,
right?
Who I haven't seen her in years.
Just laying low,
right? But she looks like a badass in the teaser, trailer. And then they have this really clunky messaging in both the trailer and the poster about how the visionary creative Terminator James Cameron returns,
but not as a director.
No, it's the story was his, I guess, or the concept was his. He's executive producer, very much involved in the production.
Unclear.
No, well, okay, so
if it'll be good.
So, okay, right. So there's a saying in Hollywood that goes something to the effect of never bet against James Cameron. And that's been historically true.
But usually when he's directing.
No, when he has his hand seriously in anything, that tends to be the case, yeah.
There's lots of nostalgia in this. We've got a liquid metal version of a Terminator who's doing moves that are very similar to Judgment Day's action.
Patrick, yeah. T-1000.
Although there's an interesting move where the guy like liquefies his skin off into like a copy, so I guess he can operate as a double.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. And the other one's left as a skeleton. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fun visuals. We do get a glimpse of Arnold, and we're assuming he's a Terminator, but the Terminator at the end of Judgment Day melts. So the first question I have, if the continuity from the other films is ignored and it's only the first two, is who is this Arnold? Is it just another one sent back in time?
Yeah, and the big question I have is why the hell did the CGI effects look so bad?
Yeah.
There's a point where Diego Luna's the new Terminator, the one who carbon copies himself you're just talking about, jumps off the front of a truck. And it looks as bad as that scene from The Matrix Revolutions where Keanu Reeves is like all flipping rubber in circles and looks like claymation Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
So they better clean that up. But here's the thing. The original Terminator and Terminator 2 especially were so cool because of the God, that thing is annoying. Were so cool because of the practical effects, right? So maybe it's because we're nostalgic or that we existed at a time before CGI was really prominent. But the original Star Wars, the original Indiana Jones movies, original Terminator movies, the practical effects made everything seem so much more.
There's an interesting, it could be something where they're not finished and they're going to fix it.
Yeah. Sometimes
they fix it, sometimes they don't. It could be that the original liquid metal was done frame by frame in a very early version of Photoshop, one frame at a time by hand, essentially on the computer.
Yeah, I know. Stan Winston did it.
And nowadays, I feel like some of these effects they take for granted, like, oh, we'll do it in post, and they're not taking the same level of care to ask, does this look good? Does this look done?
Right.
They're just kind of like, they just push the liquid metal plug-in
Yeah, maybe. But like, if you think back, the opening sequence of Terminator 2, which takes place in the future when the Resistance is fighting the Terminators, that it was all practical effects, including the like hovering planes and stuff like
miniatures and all that stuff.
And it was scary as hell because it seemed so real.
Right.
And that's because they were using practical effects.
Yeah.
At the end of this teaser, there are two like C-130 transport planes that crash into each other midair. It just looks so fake. Now, Tim Miller, the guy who directed it, only has one movie under his belt, the first Deadpool. It was great. That's it. That's the extent of his feature resume.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hope that we still shouldn't bet against James Cameron. We'll know soon. I think it comes out in like September or October or something.
It'll be back.
Okay. Your turn. Reset. Go.
All right. How many more do you want to do?
I don't know. I have a couple others we can talk about, but you should go.
Okay. Well, then I just want to blow through this real quick. It seems like the Aladdin reviews are mixed. Yesterday I checked, Rotten Tomatoes was in the 40s, and then today it was in the 60s. So, and that's the critic. That's the critic reviews. The audience reviews have not been released yet because Rotten Tomatoes stopped releasing audience reviews early in one effort to combat trolls. So I thought about this story because we were just talking about this.
This is not a story.
Well, it leads to another story.
Okay.
Well, we talked about once before when we were excited but cautious about the trailer because we were talking about, Disney doesn't let us down, the CGI doesn't change. But a lot of the reviews talk about how the genie you saw in the trailer is the genie that's in the movie, except for when he's in his human form. So if you didn't like that CGI in the trailer, tough. That's how it is in the movie. But that's not a reason for the movie to get mixed reviews. I think it's more of a Guy Ritchie issue if people jive with his version of storytelling. But more about Rotten Tomatoes, they just launched today a new mechanism called verified reviewers.
Yeah.
And this is another effort to combat trolling because everything gets politicized these days. Like, people that wanted to bash on Black Panther or Captain Marvel would come out in force and try to destroy the movie in its reviews, and they hadn't even seen it. So the verified reviews are an effort to say, you are a real audience member who's seen this, and you verified it because there's a ticket, there's a paper trail that says you've seen this movie.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good effort. The one thing that's kind of not great about it is Fandango owns Rotten Tomatoes. The only way to verify it is to have bought your ticket through Fandango.
Funny how that works.
So if you want your review, if you're not an official critic, if you're just an audience member and you want your review to count, you have to buy your tickets through Fandango. Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's all for obvious reasons why they did it that way. I think that they are going to need to have an API and open that up to other movie ticket services if this mechanism is going to work. It's an interesting effort, but it's going to affect some of the marketing in the future, I think, because Rotten Tomatoes is one of these things that like everybody looks at now.
Yeah, but people don't understand that there's a difference between the critic approval rating and the user approval rating. Like, my preference would be that users don't get to share reviews. Like, it's a site that's exclusively to see the aggregate of critic reviews, which is what Metacritic is.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry, I squeezed two stories into one.
No, only one of those was a story.
All right. What else do you want to cover?
Okay. I'm just going to blurt out a bunch of things really quickly we don't have to discuss, but I think they're worth knowing about. So Quentin Tarantino's new movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, debuted at Cannes in France. Cannes.
I thought you spoke French.
Un petit peu. J'ai oublié
Je ne
toutes les
sais quoi.
choses.
Cannes.
Yeah. Hopefully Madame Gino isn't listening to this because she'll be disappointed. Anyway, the reviews are great, so that's something to look forward to. Next, last week, when we weren't recording, Bill Murray said he'd be open to being in the next Ghostbusters movie. So there's not much of a story here because Bill Murray's been the roadblock for making a third Ghostbusters movie for years. He's notoriously hard to get in touch with because he doesn't have an agent. But he said in public that he would be willing to be in this movie if anybody would ask him. So I hope somebody's asked him.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
He doesn't answer the phone sometimes. Notoriously hard to get a hold of. Fired all of his agents.
Yeah. And then the last thing, some updates on the Disney Plus TV show Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is a sequel series to Avengers Endgame. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What are you doing with your life?
Yeah. But okay, if you're still listening, Anthony Mackie takes over the Captain America mantle at the end of the movie. So supposedly this series is going to be about him coming to terms with what it means to transition from being the Falcon into Captain America. He's like doing a sort of buddy cop thing with Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan's Winter Soldier. And they just announced 2 returning characters from Captain America Civil War. Daniel Bruhl, who's a fantastic actor, is Baron Zemo. He was the villain.
Yep.
So that's super exciting because he was a great villain in that movie because he broke the trend of just having the villain be a carbon copy of the hero. And
he also broke the Avengers.
Right, yeah. So there's a lot more to do with him. And then Emily Van Camp, who was Agent 13, Peggy Carter's niece.
Who got the awkward kiss from
Yeah. We
Cap.
can talk about it some other time. And and she's been conspicuously absent from the last couple of movies. Anything else you want to say?
2 quick things I want to run through real quick. I just want to let you know in front of all of our public that I read the draft of your MCU story, science being one of the cornerstones of the MCU.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's amazing. I think it's ready to go up. And by the time you hear this, it will be up. And so Christian wrote this excellent story about believable science being, more importantly, scientists being an important part of the MCU and will need to be moving forward.
Marvel Cinematic Universe, yep.
Yeah. So that's just a plug.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then the last thing is, better late than never, I finally saw both John Wick Chapter 1 and 2. They are amazing, fantastic films.
Yep.
Had a great time. And it's only relevant because the third one just dropped last weekend.
Yeah, a week ago.
Yeah. And it's getting great reviews. Everybody says it's the best. I haven't seen it yet. But I am very much anticipating Chapter 3 and now Chapter 4,
Right.
which has been announced.
Right.
So apparently he doesn't die.
Unless it's a prequel. Yeah. I am deeply embarrassed that I haven't seen Chapter 3 yet because we've said this earlier, but like maybe in the first episode of the podcast, it's in my top like 3 anticipated movies of this year. But I've been out of town and busy and...
How far do you think they'll take this series? Because, I mean, even at the end of 2, it's just like, geez, like, what are they going to do next? Space?
Well, I don't know. Let's talk about it after we've both seen this next one.
Okay.
All right. Okay, and then the last thing we want to do, we're coming in on 26 minutes now, 30 seconds to 26 minutes, and we're trying to keep super short.
Trying to keep it under 20 minutes.
Although I should, no. 26 minutes apparently is what you, our listeners, are willing to listen
Tolerate.
to. Right. So don't look at the timestamp just in case we edit anything. But we want to end each episode with a movie recommendation. So something that's on our minds, and if you haven't seen it, you should. So do you want to go first?
I was just going to recommend John Wick in case you haven't seen it.
Oh, good. That's a good recommendation. Okay, and for me, we're coming up on Memorial Day weekend in D.C. where we live. It's hot and muggy. There were tornadoes today, so summer weather is here. I think of Memorial Day in the beach, summer on the beach, and I was thinking about Weekend at Bernie's. It's the 30th anniversary of Weekend at Bernie's, which is a unique and hilarious movie that has a brand of physical comedy that I think has sort of been lost in the last couple of decades. The Farrelly brothers maybe tapped into it a little bit, but the concept that the main character, Bernie, is dead and people have to pretend that he's not, like physically pretend that he's not. It's a very funny movie, and it takes place at a beach house.
So watch it at your beach house.
Yeah, or...
You know what I thought you were going to recommend when you started saying summer in D.C.?
What?
True Lies.
Oh, one other thing. Okay, fine.
McG.
Yeah. Okay. So
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus is remaking, I believe, True Lies into a TV series.
McG said it's mostly a reboot, but maybe there's room.
Yeah.
I mean, well, his words, not mine.
I know.
It's a remake, but he said there's room for Arnold to come back.
Right. So there's a True Lies TV series. Arnold and Arnold should come back.
Right. The Arnolds.
Yeah. That would be great.
Okay.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, of course.
So watch that too.
Yeah, eventually.
All right.
Good.
So thanks for listening all the way to the end. Subscribe, share, check us out on social media. Tell your friends about it. The website is nothinortriple.com.
Nothin.
And you can find Nothin or Triple on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everywhere social media and podcasts are found.
Yeah, and we're neglecting all those channels, so follow us.
Yeah.
Okay, next time, see ya.
Bye.